I went out and bought 10 domain names.
Wow.
About 10 different business ideas.
This week on Africa X, we're doing the second part of Jackie's story. Enjoy the show.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome back to Africa X, our weekly episode. We are bringing you back Jacqueline Tsuma's story. That's what we're going to be continuing on. If you missed her show last week where she was telling her story, please log on to our Facebook page where you can pick up on last week's episode to hear how we started and where we're going to this week, right?
Absolutely.
Jackie, welcome.
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure having you here.
Yes.
Last week we were talking about your story, how you started on your career, and we will be continuing this week to finding out from that how you have become the successful entrepreneur that you are and how finding your feet in Africa was the journey that you took, and I'm really, really looking forward to talking and discussing about that.
Thanks, Natalie. Good to be here, guys, and really enjoyed talking about that last week. So, yeah, we can jump right in.
Let's do it. So, Jackie, part of your career path included travel abroad, getting new skill sets.
Yes, so we relocated. We left Germany as a family and relocated back to Zimbabwe. About 2 months before I came back to the continent, I actually started to work in a position which was remote. So I could do it 100% remotely. I didn't have to work in an office 9 to 5, but I could work from anywhere. And I must admit, coming from the cold weather, of course, that is Europe, and coming back to Harare, I realized that, oh, wow, I have absolutely missed this. And I spent my first months on my laptop, in my garden, in the sun, just really enjoying being back. But more than that, it began to really make me think about the fact that, do we need to restrict ourselves to working in a specific location? Why do we say we only work in a certain country and our clientele is only in a certain country? Why? We're in a global world right now. And that's really where I started to think of, wow, what if I could start to get into business and really get more and more, have a global market, not just focusing on
And this is really interesting. I find it super interesting, Jackie, because abroad and have developed their friends, their connections and their networks, really genuinely want to come back on the continent, but they feel that if the job they're doing is not where they are in a developed country, it could literally change everything for them. But you were able to negotiate or find yourself an opportunity with your employer at the time where you could still be doing a global job, but be based on the continent. And so opportunities, and I found with the power of technology and remote working and all of this that we talk about, don't have to have a geographic barrier.
No.
Opportunities could be global as long as we have the technological access. So you started off from that, and it set a seed in your mind to help you start thinking about how you could actually do things differently and create opportunities for yourself that had nothing to do with the location in which you were, because your husband had just moved to Zimbabwe for a job, and here you are coming to where he's working, but you have your remote job, and you started thinking about what other things can I actually do, setting up the global e-commerce business in real estate that you're going to talk to us about. And I would love to hear, how did you go about doing that? Obviously, we have learned already of you.
Yes.
Extremely determined, very, very purposeful, inherently curious, but also an innate hard worker. But all of this people could have. What turned on the light bulb and put you on this virtual entrepreneurial course, technically?
Yes. And it's interesting. Like I mentioned last time, I've always been entrepreneurial. I've always desired to just explore options, and starting with what I did in university. But when we came back to Africa, and I was like, I really want to get going. And I must admit, I had lots of ideas. And my first thing, I don't know if we all do this, but I did. I went out and bought 10 domain names.
Wow!
about 10 different business ideas on health, on kids and family, on cars.
But I want to catch you there.
So
I want to catch you there because I have learned a lesson from the group chairman of the company that I work for, Dr. Strive Masiwa. And he always encourages us to be extremely entrepreneurial by trying so many things. He often says, try as many things as possible out there. Have so different options and then figure out what works. And that's interesting about your story because you did exactly that. You didn't just rest on your laurels to say, number one, maybe I don't have an idea. Actually, you said, I'm going to try as many ideas as possible. So that's a very important lesson to pick up from. And love to hear how from registering 10 domains, and then how did you figure out what it is you wanted to do?
You know, so I started with a couple of them and set up the pages on social media. But, you know, I realized that this is something that I must say made such a big difference in my entrepreneurial journey. I was struggling for the first maybe 3 years or so to really know what is the one thing I can focus on, and I was trying to do so many different things and didn't actually know the best way. So I signed up for course after course after course about online business, but really didn't get the right methodology until I finally found the right coaches and the right mentors, and through them was able to figure out, you know what, this seems to be your best bet. This particular area, and that area was actually real estate. This is your best avenue that you need to be addressing. And so with that encouragement, then I was able to jump into that. And really, I think also one thing that because a lot of people ask, right? And I think it's something we've had a discussion about. People ask, how do you get to know what is the ideal business idea to get started with? How do you get to know, instead of spreading yourself thin and experimenting in too many different things, but how do you get to know which is the best idea?
And that's important because not only did you decide that you wanted to run your own business and become an entrepreneur, you invested in your personal development.
Absolutely.
I have come across so many people who say that, look, I'm trying to run this business here and there, and most of those businesses don't scale up. But the difference in what I'm picking up from you is that you went for business coaching and personal development coaching that would help you discover. So coaching and training and getting honed in and investing in that for ourselves is something that is peculiarly important when we decide to set up businesses that can scale. Fantastic. And so from then on, you discovered after all this coaching and the stuff that you were doing that real estate probably should be the thing for you.
Absolutely.
What was next? What did that look like embarking on that journey?
Well, it all started with having invested in real estate ourselves as a family, and then using my own skills in digital marketing and IT and online entrepreneurship, online business, to get that business, that real estate investment.
So
cash flow.
Your foundation in technology development, first of all, you've got a tech degree, and then you've got a master's in technology development, helped you to leverage on those skills to then set up your e-commerce business.
Yes, so when it comes to business, you always want to get into something that you are good at and that you have a background in. And that helped me because having used the skills that we had used in our own real estate business, I was able to then leverage that to now start to show others how to do the same thing. Others who are exactly like me, who are living abroad, who have always wanted to invest and have had a challenge to do the same thing. Because we talked about investing for years and just could never get started. We were scared, we were, procrastinating. But because of getting to that place of finally getting success, we noticed, actually, there's a lot of people who need this. Plus, people would ask us, how did you do this? So after connecting a couple, 5-6 people to the same path that we were on, that's when we realized this is actually a very important thing. And there you go. Whenever people are asking you, hey, how do you do this? How did you get this done? That's always a good indicator of what your potential business idea could be. So we started with the real estate, and we,
Were you not scared as a family to start investing in real estate? Did you not think about the funding? How are we going to get the funding for us to be able to do this? This is always a challenge for most people who want to start up their own businesses. I don't have the money to set it up. I don't have the networks and the connections. So once you realize that real estate is probably the practical avenue in which you should go because of the experiences that you were having, the research that you did through coaching, etc., whatever, and having landed that. But tell us about some of the fears that for a little while might have kept you from starting, and how you overcame those fears to then actually getting started. And then, of course, leading us through Once you got started, you then expanded this business that you were doing individually to becoming an online commercial entrepreneur in that very stead, and teaching other people how to do it, monetizing through that, and continuing to expand on the portfolio that you currently have today.
Yes. Well, I think the good thing was that when you talk about the fears, yes, we always would have those fears. I think when we first started, we didn't have the vision to know, hey, this is going to bring about this type of cash flow for us or this type of returns. So from seeing the good result we got, I think it was actually very low pressure. You know what I mean? Like, we were doing it because I just do it naturally and everything. And I naturally like to research. I'm the person who, whenever I buy any new appliance, I will pull out the manual and I'll read it cover to cover. That's me. I like to over research and just really make sure I know what I'm doing. It's always been very important for me to just know 100% of what I'm doing. So I would go out there and I would research, okay, what is it that is working? What is it? And then applying it. So it was really low pressure. That's one thing I must admit made a big difference. And the same, I said this for a lot of businesses, you do want to give yourself a room to fail. Don't pressure yourself too much, in the sense of have a vision, but be open to the fact that, look, it might change, it might, evolve. So with that leeway to play with it, and then seeing the success that came out of it, then we're able to then distill those lessons and put that into something that we can teach others in order to get the same results, right?
So why didn't you just keep on doing what you were doing? Why did you expand into making this something that is scalable by actually teaching other people? I find this immensely refreshing, because most people who are successful want to keep their lessons to themselves. Why should they go out there and empower somebody else to do what they're doing, to give the market to somebody else, and maybe actually groom someone else who's even going to be more successful than yourself? Why was this never a worry for you? And why did you think about actually diversifying the business into these two lands? What proprietarily you were doing, and the physical investments, and then setting up something which is scalable, that reaches other people, that you're also teaching to do exactly what you're doing. And then, look, we would also love to hear how the e-commerce side of it is going and what it's all about.
Yes, well, thanks, Natalie. I think generally, you never want, when it comes to business, it's like you said, what's the difference between being an entrepreneur and being a self-employed person? It's the ability to scale. Now, truth be told, the minute that you are just getting output based on how many hours you put into something, you will not be able to scale.
Wow.
You need to be able to multiply your time. And by teaching others, I'm able to multiply my time and reach 100, where I would just have reached 1. You know what I mean? Plus, I like what you say about sharing rather than keeping to oneself the information. Because the truth is, we sometimes we can be in a scarcity mindset where,
wow,
this is all mine. I'm not going to, show others. But I want to really,
I want to be in a place of abundance. There's enough room for everybody in this world, and enough of a share for everyone to make it.
Exactly. And that's what we really need to start thinking more of. The more you give away, the truth is, even the Bible says, the more you give away, the more you get back. Okay, just think about it. If all you could keep in your life was what you gave away, or if what you could keep in your life was a proportion of what you gave away, wouldn't you want to give away more? It kind of turns the whole thing upside down in that sense. But it really just summarizes my own premise, my personal premise for what I do.
And this is interesting you say this. One of my favorite books is by Malcolm Gladwell, and it's called Outliers. And the first chapter that he writes about in that book is on a topic called the Matthew Effect. And the Matthew Effect talks about that if you don't expand on anything, if you don't make what you're doing bigger and more scalable, it diminishes. But the more and more, the bigger the pie you grow off it, actually, the more chances you get of even making more. Absolutely. And so lessons I have learned in business, exactly as you were saying, is that if you don't scale, you make little. The more you scale and the more you get it out there to more and more people, the more you are going to make in your business.
Yes.
So fantastic story lands hearing that from you. Now, Jackie, I want to understand, describe to us just very briefly how you've set up this e-commerce business, because it's something that you actually do from home, but you're in multiple countries. How have you gotten about doing that sort of thing? I find it extremely, extremely inspirational.
Yes. Wow. Well, what I do pretty much is work with individuals who are interested to invest in their home country, whether they're living abroad or not, right? But they know they want to invest back in Africa, right? So we help them to go into that country, set up whatever they need to set up legally, find the best investments to make, and make those investments, okay? Looking if there's financing possibility or if they can start with where they are in order to generate a cash flow. And it makes such a big difference, people having that support. And the way we do it is by leveraging partnerships, I would say that, and now we're working in Ghana, we're working in Uganda, we're working in Kenya, in Zimbabwe, in South Africa, just because of leveraging partnerships of people who are on the ground, who we know, we like, and we trust, and who we can 100% recommend to our clients, because this is the number one thing that really affects a lot of people in business in Africa. I'm sure, Natalie, you can attest to this. Is just finding the right, the
reliable people,
people of integrity,
diligence, who will do what they have said they're going to do.
Exactly. This is the thing. And we're so strict about the kind of people that we work with, because this will be our name. If someone doesn't get the work done, then this reflects back on us. But at the same time, we also see when we get the right partners on, then our clients get amazing results. And this is for people who, even starting from it could be someone who just wants to get one investment going and make a cash flow from it in order to fund the next one. It could also be someone who wants to get a big resort or a chain of resorts going in order to keep building. So it's really at whatever scale that our clients want to work with. And this is what I found to be so important, is that you need to be ready to meet your client at the place where they are. Okay, nothing is too big, nothing is too small. Everybody needs the next step. And I think this is something we talked about before, like everyone has a coach. Serena Williams has a coach, right? To stay on top of the world, right? I'm pretty sure, like, the top business leaders as well. You've mentioned having your
I have mentors.
Mentors.
I have mentors. I have
spending time to
coaches learning every other day.
Absolutely. In fact, one mentor that I follow says that you need to spend half of your day learning.
Wow.
You need to spend 4 out of your 8 hours a day learning. So that means if you're only going to be working 4 hours of a day, multiply for example, the fee that you charge, so that you're getting you're getting a good return, you're getting quality. Now you talk about quality and not quantity, right? So there's so much, and I think we can't squeeze it into this short time, but we're going to be talking a lot more about some of the lessons we have both been learning going forward, isn't it?
No, absolutely.
Yes.
And I mean, you say something that really resonates with me, the importance of being coached, getting a support structure, learning and not thinking that you have learned enough in the world. Now, your businesses, you're running 2 of them, and one is about 3 years old, and you were telling me how difficult that journey was starting it up, but it is now very much on course, a 6-figure revenue business. And your personal goal since day one I met you is turn it into a 7-figure business. The other second business is about a year old, or just over a year old.
Yes.
But it is also already a 6-figure business and on course to you making it a 7-figure business. Wow.
Yeah, so this is something
These are really amazing lessons, and thank you so much. This for us is a Sunday morning. You've taken time out of your Sunday to spend this time with Africa X. You have 2 beautiful girls and a family that you're very dedicated to, and I really want to thank you. I don't know how you do it, because you're running these 2 businesses, you're doing this amazing Africa X show so that we can put Africa's unprecedented, untold stories that have hope, and showcasing them over and above everything else that you have chosen to do. So join us again to learn and to hear more of the undefined, unprecedented stories that are really inspiring out of Africa, that we would like to share with people who are watching us from across the continent. So here again on Africa X, we are looking forward to having you next week. And thank you, Jacqueline Tsuma, for having me this morning.
Thank you, Nat. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.